NATO, the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, is one of the most powerful military alliances in the world. But why was it created? How did it survive the Cold War? And why it is still relevant today? Let's break it down. After World War II, Europe was shattered, and while Western Europe was rebuilding, the Soviet Union was spreading its influence in the East. Countries like Poland, East Germany, and Hungary all fell under the Soviet control. This division is known as Iron Curtain. Western countries were worried about the spread of communism and Soviet aggression, and to stop the Soviet influence, the United States took the initiative, uniting the 12 Western countries to form a military and defense alliance, signing a pact in Washington, D.C. on April 4, 1949, known as the NATO. President Harry Truman and Secretary of State Dean Acheson played an important role in this. The main goal of the pact is to protect the freedom and safety of its member countries using the political talks and military help. The most important part of this pact is Article 5, which says if one NATO country is attacked, it will be treated as an attack on all the members, and then all the NATO countries will help to defend the country that was attacked. Article 5 was invoked for the first and only time in history after the attack of 9/11. All the NATO members supported the US and launched a mission in Afghanistan. And this showed that NATO wasn't just for Europe anymore, it could act globally. During the Cold War, the Soviet Union had its own version of NATO known as the Warsaw Pact, a military alliance of communist countries in Eastern Europe. Its goal was to defend each other if attacked, but it was also used by Soviet Union to control its allies. NATO successfully stayed united by holding joint military training, sharing weapons and intelligence, and placing US troops and nuclear weapons in the Europe. Staying united and ready helped them to avoid wars, as the Soviet Union knew that attacking any NATO member would bring all the NATO members into the fight under the Article 5. During the tough moments like Berlin crisis or the Cuban Missile Crisis, NATO stayed united and trusting each other helped it to survive over 40 years of Cold War tensions. On the other hand, the Warsaw Pact ended in 1991 with the collapse of Soviet Union. And after the collapse, many countries like Poland, Hungary, Czech Republic and the Baltic states joined the NATO, which were once part of the Soviet Union, and NATO started to expand. Today, NATO has 32 members, with the latest join of Sweden right after Finland in 2023. The biggest challenge for NATO today is Russia. Especially after the invasion of Ukraine in 2022, NATO increased the defense, especially in the countries near Russia. NATO also asked its members to spend at least 2% of their GDP on the defense. The major chunk of NATO spending comes from the USA. NATO started as a military and defense alliance against the Soviet Union, but over the time it became a global force to manage for defense, peacekeeping and crisis response. NATO also works on modern-day threats like monitoring cybersecurity and works with other countries and groups like UN and EU to keep the world stable. If you like the video, hit the like button, and if you want to know about Warsaw Pact, check out this video. Also, if you want a video on Cuban Missile Crisis, let me know in the comment section.